Welcome everyone to another of our monthly series introducing our affiliated partners to the Sea Turtle Rescue Alliance. So this month we are going deep into the Mediterranean all the way to Turkey. And we are with our colleagues from DEKAMER, Dr. Yakup and Dr. Emre. And we're going to have a discussion again about what are they seeing over there, what are their main ailments on sea turtles, and if you do feel more interested in following up their work, then you're going to visit their website at the end. We'll have a discussion. So to start off with, let's have a bit of an understanding of what is the name of the center, of yourselves, and who are you within the organization?
Okay, thank you. And DEKAMER is a kind of name in Turkish, Sea Turtle Center, actually. Deniz refers to the sea, Ka refers to the turtle, and then Mer refers to the center. So DEKAMER means Sea Turtle Center. But at the same time, it refers to the many pieces of the shell of the turtle, and also DEKAMER is a kind of sea turtle center all the way into the Mediterranean of Turkish coast. And we based on the beach actually, and we set up this center 17 years ago. And but before that we were just monitoring the nests and trying to protect the eggs and so on. But since we've been overcoming some injuries of turtles, so we decided to set up the first rescue center in Turkey. And for this, we organized a kind of symposium in Turkey, National Sea Turtle Symposium, and all the interested parties and the stakeholders took decision that we need a rescue center in Turkey, and then that's what we established in 2008. And then it became also affiliated with the Pamukkale University because we need to align with the university's commitments. So it is both as a rescue center and also a research center under the Pamukkale University.
That is very interesting. And so where in Turkey, is it the only rescue center currently? And do you cover the whole coast of Turkey?
Yes, as a rescue center, yes, but we have 3 or 4, I can say, first aid stations. They are mainly active during the summertime, and they look after few injured turtles, and their convalescent pools are limited. But we are the one open all year around and also accept injured turtles from those centers as well.
Okay, and so what is exactly your job, Dr. Yakup, within this organization?
I am the founder of the center, and I'm also general manager of the center. But obviously, since I established it, and everybody knows my name almost equal to the DEKAMER. So when you Google in the Mediterranean in Turkey with the sea turtle, and the DEKAMER is the one comes up at the top, so that even if they see a nesting turtle, if they see an injured turtle, if they see a mating, if they see anything related to the turtles, they call us from all over the Turkey, and then we guide them, all the either government authorities or volunteers of us located different parts of the Turkey. So we know almost every 50 kilometers. We placed one of the tanks that we carry the injured turtles to our center. So we immediately mobilize those volunteers to go and pick up the turtle. At the same time, we also ask our staff and the volunteers to go and pick up the turtle either in between, in the middle of the road, or go and pick it up where it is located.
And so, as I understand, Dr. Emre comes within that staff that's allocated to the rescue center. Do you want to introduce yourself, Emre?
Emre, can you either in Turkish or in English, can you briefly mention yourself?
Hocam Türkçe tarif edeyim isterseniz.
Okay, he will say in Turkish more conveniently, and then I will probably briefly translate it.
Balıkesir Üniversitesi Veteriner Fakültesi Üniversitesi'nden mezun oldum ve yaklaşık bir senedir de deniz kaplumbağalarının rehabilitasyonu başta olmak üzere arazi çalışmaları ile ilgili de DEKAMER'de bulunuyorum. E, Bu konuda Türkiye'nin her yerinden özellikle merkezimize gelen deniz kaplumbağalarının tedavi süreçleri, gerekli antibiyotik uygulamaları, sıvı tedavileri ve röntgen, kan biyokimya analizlerini yapıyoruz ve iyileştirip denize göndermeye çalışıyoruz.
Tamam, bir saniye ben burayı bir tercüme edeyim. He graduated from the Faculty of Medicine, Veterinary Medicine of Balıkesir University 2 years ago, and then he involved with the DEKAMER Center, and he's been doing the treatments of the turtles from Turkey, giving antibiotics, supplying fluids, taking the X-rays, and looking at the blood biochemistry, and so on.
Perfect. So we have the veterinarian and the founder on board today. So we've been talking about turtles a lot. Would you be able to let us know which species of sea turtles do you handle the most?
Well, we have two species of sea turtles nesting in the Mediterranean, and those are loggerhead turtles and the green sea turtles. And our dominant species is the loggerhead. But we do have many green turtles, especially the nesting of the green turtles located far in the eastern Mediterranean, but as a feeding ground, juveniles and subadults all over the Mediterranean. So nearly 1/3 of our patients from green turtles, and 2/3 is the loggerhead, I can say, in general.
So from those greens that you mentioned, mostly would be juvenile subadults that you have as patients. And the loggerheads,
Yes.
are they mostly
Well,
adults?
all ranges, I can say, because our center is located on the beach, and even if we see an injured female laying on the turtles, we are even looking at the females, but the males, subadults, juveniles, all range of loggerheads are also coming to the center.
Okay, so how many animals do you think you, on average, each year take into your center for treatment?
Around 50 turtles we get every year, and so far we get 640 patients, and we able to release 380. And I think around 11 or 12 at the center at the moment, and obviously around 40% mortality rate is we face at the center so far.
Yeah. Well, 60% is a really good numbers for wildlife centers across the world.
Yes,
And
yeah.
from your 50 patients that you receive yearly, how many can you house at one given time? You said now you have 10, 11. Is that full capacity, or you still have space for
Well,
more?
we have different size of convalescent pools actually, but if it is all adults, I think we can come up with the 40 tanks. But for the juveniles and smalls, we have another 20, I would say. So 60, 70 we can look after at the same time.
That is a tremendous effort
Yeah.
to have so many of those patients coming.
Yeah.
And can you tell me what are the most common injuries that you see on these animals, or if it varies by species, or it's the same across?
Well, to be honest, most of them are the same, but the plastic ingestion and the buoyancy problems are coming the top one, and then soon after, or almost equal to this, fisheries interaction, fishing line cuts, hook ingestions, and also some propeller cuts causing from the boats, and some buoyancy problems related to these. And sometimes intentional hits or intentional cause of injuries are also dominant. But I can say that the buoyancy problem is coming as to the center as a first initiative, but later on we discovered that it's mainly caused by the plastic ingestion.
Because that was going to be my follow-up question would
Yeah.
be if you can
Yeah.
pinpoint what is the buoyancy issue deriving from. So once you are able to resolve the plastic impaction ingestion, are they able to resolve their buoyancy issues, or
Well,
is it?
mainly yes, but we are also using some putting weights on their shells if they still have some buoyancy problems. But it depends on the summer and the winter period as well, and because of the water temperature, especially in the summertime, with the additional of weights, we were able to release them back to the sea. But in the winter time, due to the cold weathers, their metabolic rate is slow, and we are sometimes facing difficulties of their getting over their buoyancy problems.
And does the water in your region cool down quite substantially over winter, or are you able to release these animals year round?
To be honest, we are not releasing them, especially in the very cold weather. But our seawater temperatures goes 16, 17 Celsius degrees is the minimum. So we from the tracking devices of the turtles, we see some of the turtles are staying all year around in our coasts. That's basically due to the climate change. But we try to release them from May till October, November. And we keep it December, January, and February is the coolest period, and we don't try to release them, because even if the water temperature is okay, the weather temperature is getting cold, and we don't try to release on these 3 months. That is basically the winter period.
And for those turtles staying over winter in your facility, do you have a way of keeping the water temperature as well warm enough for them?
Yes, we are putting heaters for each tank, and we have solar panels, and we try to overcome the electricity problem most of the time. But as I said, in the winter time, we are getting maybe 10 or 15 is the maximum so far. So we were able to heat them, and we were able to look after them over the winter period.
That's good. So we've touched a little bit because of discussing who Emre is, but how is the veterinary care managed at your center? Is Emre the only veterinary personnel? Do you have nurses or biologists or anyone else assisting you with those treatments?
Yes, Emre is currently the full-time veterinary student staying there, but we have the responsible vet at the university. He is also coming and checking most of the time. But we have biologists and veterinary nurses as well, so they are supporting. Especially in the summer period when we have too many turtles, we do accept trainees from the vet students, from fisheries, from biology background, and so on. So we have around 30 volunteers staying at the center and supporting all these activities. For each month, we are covering all their expenses, providing food and accommodation for all the trainees and interns that helping us and supporting our activities.
That is incredible. Do you also accept international students and trainees, or mostly Turkish based?
Well, we do accept international students, but obviously 5 to 10 students every month we do get international, and that's why our center is a kind of English-speaking atmosphere for everyone. So we try to give our orders and all the admissions and other things, both in Turkish and English. And we try to show them a kind of data collection for scientific studies and so on. Some of them even doing their either honors projects or master projects, and some of them even PhD projects. They are coming and collecting specimens for themselves.
That's a super diverse ecosystem that you're creating there, which is really nice. Also, opportunity for them to learn Turkish, I hope.
Yes.
So going to just the veterinary side of things for a little bit is, what kind of facilities do you have there for the turtles, or are you able to collaborate with the university and take the animals there if needed? Like, what kind of equipment do you have access to?
Well, we do have a X-ray machine and a blood biochemistry machine at the center, and soon after the turtle arrives there, we are doing this X-ray and blood biochemistry analysis. But if we need further research on details, obviously we have labs at the university that comes into the action. And also sometimes we do get from the medicine faculty if we needed additional equipmental support and so on. Even once we did titanium 3D JAW. Then we did even use the tomography of the university hospital as well to get the 5 micrometer scanning of the lower jaw and the missing part, and trying to identify the missing part and try to produce the titanium jaw for that turtle.
And what happened to that turtle now that you touched on that base?
Yeah,
is that
turtle.
still...
Yeah, that turtle lived unfortunately for 2 years, and it was operated by a wide range of veterinary experts. That I had the president of the 35th International Sea Turtle Symposium in Turkey, and then we did have many vets coming at that symposium, and we did get support from them. And unfortunately, the turtle lived for 2 years at the center, and then the turtle died for the secondary complications. But we are still keeping this turtle in the museum of the center to show the people that this 3D printing also available for all animals, and it was the first for turtles that operation done in Turkey, and with the support of international people.
Yeah, and just shows, just as you were explaining before, the importance of different collaborative forces, from medicine, from veterinary, from biologists, from everyone involved. So going into that side of the research, does your center carry out any research specifically onto sea turtles? And can you touch a little bit about what kind of projects you have?
Well, I can say that the first project I can say is the genetic diversity of the sea turtle populations coming from the different beaches and the different backgrounds. And we try to identify their genetic haplotype and try to see genetic differences from different beaches and different zones. In parallel to these genetic differences, we also look at the isotope levels for these turtles, either coming from different beaches or different feeding grounds. So try to understand also their trophic levels by comparing the nitrogen and the carbon levels, isotopes. Try to identify whether they fed on the same habitat or different habitats, and so on. On top of these, we are also looking at this plastic ingestion and their cause of injuries and their occurrence in the gastrointestinal system, and what type of plastics and so on. So we have also similar work on that one. And obviously the nest predation, nest relocation, nest protection type of things are always ongoing work. And obviously satellite tracking and trying to understand their migration routes, especially in the Mediterranean, and try to identify the important marine turtle habitats. And so we have also similar works on those.
Thank you so much. Yeah, you're keeping busy with all the different projects, plus the master students and the PhD students.
Without 30 students support, I will not able to do such work. So we get many interested students, so that, for example, currently we have students from Swansea University from the UK, and they are coming and doing their master projects. In the past, we did have students from Duke University from the States, so they did have similar projects running in the center, and we do have individual students coming as an Erasmus exchange students from all over the Europe, actually.
There's a lot of people to get to know and teach, for sure. Just out of curiosity, because you mentioned so much the nesting in Turkey, roughly how many turtles do you see nesting every year, or how many nests do you have recorded a year in Turkey?
To be honest, on Dalyan Beach, the beach in front of our rescue center, we regularly monitor, obviously. But last year, we had 770 nests on that beach. But that is only the 4.5 kilometers zone. So we have quite a high number of nests, and that is the densest beach in Turkey. So Dalyan Beach is protected very well, and in my student time, we did have around 200, maybe 250 nests 30 years ago, and now it's nearly tripled of these numbers. And this is the evidence of our first hatchlings entering to the sea, become a mother, and they started coming and making their nests. And that's why we see the nesting numbers are quite increased in the recent years.
Yeah, it's very substantial, 700 something in over 4 kilometers of beach. That's a very short beach for all of those nests. And you mentioned this one is protected. So in general, what would be the interaction between tourists and locals with the nests of these sea turtles?
Well, we have around 20 officially recognized nesting beaches all over the Turkey, and only 5, 6 of them fully protected, and that is basically controllable by the public entrance at night and so on. All the others are basically under the threat of the tourism activities, and as you can imagine, turtle and the tourism season is overlapping in the Mediterranean, starting from May till September, and that is the peak season for the tourism. So all type of beach umbrellas and the usage of the desk chairs and so on, or zoning of the nesting area and so on. We have the similar problems, especially light coming from the hotels and secondary houses, causing many disorientations and so on. But luckily, the beach we are working is we are the one only staying on the beach over the winter, over the night, so that we turtles and our volunteers are the one only they staying on the beach. But all the other beaches, obviously, entrance from the hotels or pensions. Sometimes people are driving on the beach and so on. So all type of general interaction with the tourism activities is also going on the other beaches.
Yeah, there's still a lot to do to try to learn how to respect the interactions between nature and humans, for sure. So if you wanted to consolidate into maybe 3 or 4, what are the main goals or objectives of your organization?
Well, public awareness become very important in recent years, and our rescue center and our museum is very important, because you get sponsors, you get supporters, you get volunteers if you show them that you are doing very good. And that's why this alliance and your support is very important to us, so that people know and they come and support. This is one thing. The second thing is, obviously, we are probably very good on protecting the turtles on the beaches, but the majority of the interactions and the activities causing their injuries are in the sea. So we try to concentrate on the fisheries interaction and try to develop mitigation projects to diminish these cause of injuries caused by the fisheries interaction. The third thing I would say is obviously the plastic and the ghost nets are common problems, and we try to obviously reduce these plastic ingestions, and also zero waste is a very common issue that we are using, and we try to keep our oceans clean, so that not only turtles but all the living things have very good environment in our seas.
Thank you. Yeah, a very holistic approach to try to manage sea turtle conservation in the Mediterranean. So could you briefly, and each of you can do it, could you briefly share one of your most interesting, successful, sometimes maybe not so successful, rewarding cases that you've had over the span of your time there? Emre obviously has less time, but still I'm sure he has some story of an animal that might have marked him more than others.
Well, To be honest, since we have both species, I think the green turtles have much more sensitive and much more difficult to look after. And our we need to improve at least their rehabilitation success at our center. Loggerheads are much more easy and we are much more successful on them. But especially for the green turtles, we need to do more enrichments maybe in their tanks, more food supports in different ranges from peppers to the cucumbers and so on sometimes. So this is one of the difficulties that we face at the center. The other thing is regarding to the nesting biology and other things, I think we need to understand the importance of the marine turtle important marine turtle areas. And we know the beaches are very important, but we need to identify and zoning of the marine environment and maybe no fishing zone or less interaction with the fisheries and things like that. This is one of the things that we need to overcome in the following years, I would say. That's why mitigation measures and mitigation activities needs to be increased.
Dr. Emre, would you like to share a story of any patient that has marked you? You can talk in Turkish again if you want.
Yeah. Emre, seni etkileyen bir durum varsa bahsedebilirsin biraz.
Hocam ben de şundan bahsedebilirim. Özellikle rehabilitasyon sürecindeki çevresel zenginleştirme çalışmalarının rehabilitasyon başarısını etkilediği ve olumlu yönde iyileşmelerine katkıda bulundu. Çeşitli materyaller kullanarak onların özellikle su altında beslenmelerinin doğaya adaptasyon konusunda, doğaya dönüş konusunda daha hızlı yanıt verdiklerini ve iyileşme sürecini desteklediklerini söyleyebilirim. Bu konuda ilgimi
Tamam,
çeken noktalardan biri.
Evet. Bunu bir tercüme edeyim. He also mentioned the enrichment of the tank area for the rehabilitation and the success of rehabilitation. He would like to see more success of these enrichments and both the adaptation of these turtles into the wild when they released into the wild.
Thank you. And do any of you have a favorite fact about sea turtles, or what has pulled you to work with sea turtles in the first place?
Well, that's very difficult questions. I can answer this with many different answers. One of the things that made me amazing is the very tiny hatchlings, maybe 5 centimeters in length, climbing up nearly 50 centimeters at the depth of the hole that your mother dig, and this is very challenging route and you need to climb up. Obviously, this road or this challenging climbing up process is helping your survivorship in the nature. And if someone helps you, that you will not be able to survive in the sea because you will be eaten by the predators. And that's why I'm suggesting that sometimes we also need to face some of the difficulties by ourselves, and so that we can survive in the nature. And in addition to this, our Turkish culture is also very important for the turtles. We have one first script of the Turkish literature on a stone, boiled up on a turtle actually. And we set up these 2 sculptures at the entrance of our center, also reflecting that this is nearly 1200 years ago, and these turtles are identified one of the iconic species at that time, not only here. So our culture goes back to these tortoise, actually, not turtle, but the tortoise. But we also try to help them in the same way as our ancestors did. So we try to help these turtles on our beaches. And these two examples are very good. And obviously, the third issue, I can say that they are loyal to the beach they born, and we need to be loyal to our nations or our lands or our living habitats, whatsoever. So these are three interesting things. Obviously, scientifically, sex ratio differences and the process of sexing them and things like that also make me very interesting to study on turtles. I can talk more, but these are,
I can feel your love.
I think these are enough to start with.
Emre, do you have a favorite fact yourself?
Emre, niçin kaplumbağalarla çalışmayı tercih ettiğinle ilgili bir gerçek var mı diye soruyor. Bir sen de söyle istersen.
Öncelikle şundan bahsedebilirim. Dünyadaki kaplumbağa türlerin popülasyon sayısının azalmasında ve korunmaya muhtaç hayvanlar olduğu için kaplumbağalarla çalışmak istedim. Ve beni şu çok etkilemişti. Özellikle kaplumbağaların hayatta kalma içgüdüsü ya da gücü diyeyim. Diğer canlılarda karşılaştığımız vakalarda ölüme götürebilecek durumlarda kaplumbağalar gerçekten azimli bir şekilde hayatta tutunma başarısı beni etkilemişti. O yüzden şu anda kaplumbağalarla çalışıyorum.
Evet. Yes, he basically mentioned two things. The first thing is all the sea turtle species in the world are endangered and they need special protection. And the other thing is their survival rates are very low compared to the other animals, and their resistance and their resilience are very important, and that's why he just want to involve with this resilient species and try to help them to survive in the nature.
Yeah, these are incredible, for sure, dinosaurs, survivor dinosaurs that we have now. And to finish off, would you be able to explain how can members of your local community contribute to sea turtle conservation? How can they help you?
Well, the first thing is, as I mentioned at the beginning of our talk, when people, even if they don't know the DEKAMER, when they Google the sea turtle and then the first item comes up is the DEKAMER, and they are calling our center. We have a nest here, we have an injured turtle here, we have a dead turtle here, we have a stranded animal here, or we have something going on in the netting area, and so on. So this public awareness and getting the feedback from the local people or tourists or fishermen is very important. So they are collaborating with us. So without their support, we will not be so successful. The other thing is, obviously, when visitors comes to our center, they try to make donations. This is also very important. They see what we are doing, how we are doing, and even with the 30 people of these volunteers, their food and all other needed great amount of support from the visitors. We don't have any entrance fee, but we do get many support from the visitors. So these are the very two examples. The third thing is school children. I think many schools in our region try to visit our center, and also they are inviting us to give a lecture to their schools. So these are very important steps that they are involved with the conservation of the sea turtles. And as we said, that this is the best protected beach in Turkey, Dalyan Beach. And since we established on the beach or behind the beach, so that when people comes to the beach for summer period for swimming in the sea, they are at least for half an hour or 1 hour coming and visiting our center. And this is also very important.
So overall is to try to keep the Turkish community curious about sea turtles and receptive to all of that you have to teach them, for sure.
Yes.
Thank you so much for making the time today, for both of you, to make the time to talk to me, to us. If anyone wants to hear a bit more about DEKAMER, you can go to their website, which is www.dekamer.org.tr from Turkey. And DEKAMER, it's DEKAMER. Okay, so you can for sure follow them along. You can maybe, if you visit Turkey, pay attention and pay a day visit to them as well. Or if you're a student interested in volunteering or interning, just please reach out to them directly. Thank you so much again for joining us today. We'll be sure to keep in touch. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and thank you spreading our words to the all over the world actually, and hopefully we will have more volunteers with your support, and we will be very happy to be part of this alliance of the Sea Turtle Rescue centers all over the world, and we provide many research options for researchers, and if they would like to come and support only as a volunteer, they are more than welcome. But we have only limited accommodation and the food availability for 30 people, and we are getting nearly 150 for each month. So try to be quick, and early supporters are welcome, and it would be very nice to mention that they also see our interview with the aliens, and so that they can get a credit.
For sure. Thank you so much.